Alright guys, so this video is going to be about the men-at-arms into Archer's Rush build. So a good way to learn this build is to go into the practice against an AI, start on just a difficulty you can do, whether it's normal, hard, hardest, extreme, etc. This is going to be pretty much a comparison between executing the build and then also some tips on how to defend against it. One thing I will say for people who are completely new to the game, is that practicing against an AI in your own time is the best way to improve at the game. And then if you can get to a point where you can beat a hardest AI to extreme, I would say you're then ready and you're comfortable enough to be able to verse other players in a ranked situation. A good thing about learning the actual men at arms build itself, because I have a lot of people saying, how do you defend against that rush? And a good way to learn how to defend against it is by simply learning that build off by heart. Because then you know the timings. If you see someone hit an early feudal, 20 pop, 22 pop early feudal, and you're sitting there like, wait a minute, this guy's hit feudal a bit too early. He's got a barracks up. There's some flags maybe on his barracks, and you say, okay, this is a men at arms rush, and you know straight away. And you know the limits. You will learn the limits of the build from practicing it yourself. And that's why I strongly recommend that if you want to learn how to defend against a rush like that, go into just verse an AI, keep practicing that build till you feel comfortable with it. And that way, whenever you see someone do it against you, you then know, okay, this is what happens. This is the limits of the build. If I put some houses and wall off around my lumber camp and my gold, as I'll show you guys later in the video, how that can actually prevent a huge amount of damage being taken by yourself. Okay, so we're going to get into the first game. I'm going to go quiet for a little bit just so you guys can see, but this is my example of a men-at-arms rush into archers. Notice here as well how I place the barracks closest towards the enemy, because I know if I'm looking at the map, I'm in the far north, which means usually he's probably in the far south. That's how normally 1v1s go. So it's important to place your barracks and pretty much your production lines closer towards the enemy. That way there's less of a distance for them to walk. That's also a very good tip for a beginner. And as soon as my barracks is made, I want to be making as many men-at-arms as I can. Because at the moment, I'm ticking up to feudal age, so I'm not really spending my resources anywhere else. So I can make 2 men-at-arms, send them over. Oh, not men-at-arms, I should say, just soldiers. And then once feudal hits, then I instantly can research men-at-arms. And then while they're at the enemy's base, like attacking the workers and disrupting things, they get that tick up of men-at-arms, and it's quite strong. So here you see I'm getting closer. I've now hit men-at-arms. I'm now going to do some aggression, hitting their wood line. Now, just to quickly show you an example, is that this is a game of myself being rushed by men-at-arms, and so they attack my workers going straight for my lumber line, my wood line. And so my response here is that he attacked me just as I was about to start the walling. So I was like, try and get that house down. Didn't get it. And I was like, okay, now you got to wall off your wood line. This is what I mean by walling off your wood line. You can actually put your buildings down like so. Houses are almost impossible for men-at-arms to break through, especially if you have your own workers in the back there working. And now fully walled off my wood line. Now, so all 6 or 7 of those workers are completely safe. That's just a good example. Moving back into the normal game that I was showing my example of the men-at-arms rush, I'm hitting his workers. I'm weaving in and out my low health units. I'll pull them back, try and just disrupt whatever they're trying to do. Just disrupt it as much as possible. You know, if he's trying to kill one of my units, at least then I pull that back. Then only the full health one is there for them to attack. Just small little micro things that obviously if you're a new player, I wouldn't stress too much about that. That just comes with time. But it's something to just be aware of. So here I've got my archery rangers coming up behind this. At least to follow it up with either archers or if he gets his own archers, because archers are very good against countering men-at-arms. So if he gets his own archers, then I've got my archery range to build skirmishes, which then counter his archers. That's the whole idea of going into archers afterwards. See how I'm constantly scanning, seeing what's going on. Where's his wood lines at? Where is he taking gold? Where's his farms? How far away is his farms from his TC? Things like that. That way I can find a good spot to attack and hit. Want to make sure that you're constantly building farms, you're not falling behind in that aspect. Blacksmith, get those upgrades. Don't get supply blocked. So here I'm just speeding up the video. I know it's a bit harder to keep track of what's going on, but really up until now it's like I've done the bit of damage I had to. I killed quite a few workers. The biggest thing with these sort of rushes is that you can overcommit and go as hard as you can to try and win the game with that build, but the way I like to look at it is that I would like to get damage in, kill a few of his workers, get myself up in a few pop, make sure I'm still farming properly, make sure I'm still getting my wood right, killing more villagers as you can see, keeping aggression, keeping them on the back foot. That way I know where he is at all times, what they're up to, because he's not, as I can see right now, he's not building any units. And so by not seeing any units in response to me putting all this aggression on him, that tells me that he's going for a fast castle. And obviously by going market, he's got a market and there will be a blacksmith as well. But if you ever see a market that early into a feudal age, that is like 99% because they're going for a fast castle age. So that's another thing to take away from seeing that, putting that much pressure on and not getting any counter attacks or any sorts of units coming out of them. That just tells you there's going to be a fast castle, and be ready for that. Killing a few more, like I lost my men at arms there, but it's honestly fine. I'm getting the damage that I want to be getting in. I'm stopping the farming. I'm stopping the wood line, hurting his economy. You know, it's really important to just keep the aggression on, keep them on the back foot, keep applying pressure. You get the more you keep trying to put the pressure. Another thing is not to focus too much on the units at the front. It's good to be controlling them, but it's just as important to make sure that you've got people building farms, got your food economy going, your wood economy right, your stone, your gold. That way you can go to castle at an appropriate time while doing a rush like this. Because for me, playing the Celts this game, I want to be doing that infantry with siege. I want to get those onagers in there. I want to get the men at arms in the front line and pikemen and things like that, and just get that death ball going. And this works perfectly for me. So like right now, throw down my siege workshop. I see that he's got a castle building, so I pulled back from that location. I'm now getting up my own TCs. I like to go for a minimum of an extra 2 TCs to have a 3 TC, pumping out villages constantly. And this way, once I get my onagers out, I can definitely start doing a lot of aggression. Because I've already delayed him quite a bit. I'd say we're probably even in pops. Maybe I'm a little bit ahead. But the biggest thing is once this onagers in here, I can start sieging down his TC, properly. Start taking out buildings. See that forward TC there? This is going to be perfect for me once those onagers come out. Really good, making sure, okay, everything's running properly, get some more farms going, some more food. I want to get ready for it. I need to start thinking of Imperial Age as well, I've got the onagers there, taking out that TC is huge. It's massive. Yeah, so it's really good. The build's quite nice. And that's the thing, you learn to do that rush. Like that was a rush that I went into a solid late game build now. Like this is solid. Like this is now going to set me up for Imperial Age, delaying them, forcing him to invest into a lot into countering. And pretty much at this point the game's over, really. You look at it, the onagers are doing their damage and are going to do more damage. I've taken out now, this is the second TC I'll be taking out. His castle is in a good position as for defending his wood lines, but the thing is, I can snipe his TCs from a range now. Get a lot of worker kills here, and this pretty much that's the nail in the coffin too. Yeah. After that, he lost what 8 workers there, and he's lost 2 TCs. That's pretty much nail in the coffin. The game's over at this point. It's just a matter of me practicing. I like to play these out. I'm versing the hardest AI in this video, so this is just a pure practice for me. And I felt like I executed quite well. The one thing the AI didn't do, which it normally doesn't do, is like I was saying, like how I said to wall off your wood lines and things like that. Like if that had happened, I would have had a lot harder of a time getting damage done. Like if you can properly wall off and have good building placements, it becomes very hard to actually deal with, to get damage done as the rusher. Yeah, so to recap on everything there, it's important to practice in the tooltip, make sure that you know what's going on, make sure you feel comfortable versing even the hardest AI to extreme AI, that you can comfortably beat it, going into ranked, even maybe some creating your own lobbies, saying, 1v1s and things like that, and practicing that way. And just practice the men-at-arms rush. Practice the rush that you always feel like you're getting stomped by, and practice it and practice it and practice it. And that way, when you verse it, you'll know exactly its limitations, the timings of it. When you see the feudal age pop, castle age, you'll know the whole build off by heart, and you'll know how to hit it, how to counter it. I highly recommend practicing if you see men at arms or soldiers coming into your wood lines and things like that. Definitely practice just walling off. What I would highly recommend you do is that the first couple of games, if you're completely new, the next 10 games you play against the AI or whatever it is, I'd personally prefer AI, is you always put down, you wall off your wood lines. Just practice doing that. And I'm telling you, it will
Yeah,
go a long
nice.
way. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Give the channel a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.